Ladies and gentlemen, you're stopping by because you're probably a Leafs fan or a Habs fan, and we are the No Respek Podcast here to cover Game 1 of this epic series that has commenced. The last time that these two teams have met was in 1979, and I think that this game did not disappoint. To my virtual right are Justin and Alex here to do a quick game review. For those of you who are kind of used to our podcast form, that will be done after the series is complete. Hopefully, this is a panel of all Habs fans, letting you guys know from the get-go that that's the case. But usually, Habs fans, if you guys want to take a look at our podcast, that will be after the series is complete. Until then, we'll be doing these types of formats, and that's just a reminder for today's first episode for Game 1, a Habs victory. Woo! 2-1 against these Maple Leafs. Fuck yeah, baby. All right. Alex, I want to get your take on this game, starting with maybe the fact that the Montreal Canadiens were obviously considered the underdog here. I don't know how you feel that this team has kind of responded to this. I've heard sweeps, I've heard Leafs in 5, but here we are. The Habs take Game 1. What did you like and what did you see?
Look, I mean, we have to be honest. On paper, the Toronto Maple Leafs are a better team and have performed better this year. But it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. Montreal seems to do it every time they get in. They find a way to upset someone, and I think they're going to do it again this year. And Game 1 was a good start. There were some rough patches, but we basically stayed even with the Leafs. The close game. Carey Price is back, and he can win any game on his own, so that helps a lot. And I mean, a good showing. The offense might not have been there, but a win's a win, and we move on going to the next game.
Yeah, for me, I think one way that we kind of accomplished being the underdog here is we came out flying. We came out hitting and just skating fast and playing the kind of game that will win us games. And just forechecking, backchecking, all that stuff. So, I mean, that's something that it's just putting the effort in when you don't have the skill to back it up.
Correct. And a couple of game details that I want to hit very quickly. And the first and the one that's probably the most important, because even as hockey fans, you take kind of a knee on this one. And it's John Tavares getting hurt in this game after Corey Perry accidentally hits him with his knee after a hit by Ben Sherratt that kind of ensued on the play. A little bit of a freak accident. I think everybody agrees. A couple of quotes from the press conference afterwards. Corey Perry on his fight said that Nick Foligno, he knew it was an accidental knee on John Tavares, but JT is their captain and 100%, and he wanted to settle it now. I think I can agree with that take. Very quickly on this point, again, even if we're Habs fans, the whole point of this is that hockey is still a game. Regardless of the emotions being high for the playoffs, we're fucking excited. Everybody back at home is excited. You'd never want to see a human being be put in this situation, especially for a game that is hockey. So we're thinking about John Tavares on that point, but I do like the response of not only Nick Foligno, who's an addition, of course, for this series, but also Corey Perry that's just taking this on. It was a good way, I think, to reinvigorate a group that was both sides kind of taken aback by the situation. Carey Price said it was like kind of disheartening to see what happened to the JT, and also a sobering reminder that hockey is just a game. So your take on this situation, Justin, you go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely just a scary moment. Like, you don't want to ever see a player go through that. Kind of had flashes of the Max Pacioretty incident with Chara when he hit into the stanchion there. So not what you want to see. It's about that fight. I mean, it wasn't necessarily necessary, I guess, because I mean they both kind of knew that it was obviously an accident. But I think it still was necessary in a way, just for Perry to not get ran at for the rest of the game. Like, you kind of need to settle it there and just kind of end it, like you said. So I thought it was still a bit necessary, I guess, in the kind of code of enforcers, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. The highest level of hockey I've played at is probably like ball hockey Division J. And no matter what, if someone hits one of my teammates, I don't really care how it happened. I don't care if they instigated. Someone has to step up and be there. I understand maybe Foligno already knew it wasn't intentional, but this is always going to be in the game of hockey. It's always going to happen. I know fighting has been a bit of a controversial subject the last few years, and a lot of people want it out of the game because of injuries like we saw. But it's something that's always going to be there. There has to be someone there to step up for their teammate, even if it's not necessarily a warranted fight. So I know a lot of Habs fans were up in arms about, oh, this fight wasn't necessary and it's possible we're just creating more injuries, but this isn't something that's going to leave the game. And from someone who's only played hockey at a very low level, I understand it from the Leafs' viewpoint. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not supporting it, but I don't think there needs to be outrage about this fight.
Especially,
Sorry,
I just want to say, especially the fact that like no one was injured from the fight. It was a pretty like nothing fight. It was just kind of like a turtle by Perry, and that's it. So.
Yeah, you address the situation and you move on. And this happened in the first period again. Actually, shortly after, getting back to the details of the game, Josh Anderson scores on a breakaway goal, a really nice burst of speed. I think they clocked him at 41 kilometers per hour.
Crazy.
This guy's 6'3", like 230 pounds. The guy's a fridge. I know that there's been some comparisons to him or Jason Spezza on a points level, but let's be real. I know that we're Habs fans and we're biased, but that's a little bit biased from the Leafs fans. If not, there was a response by, obviously, the Leafs here. William Nylander with a rebound goal. Again, very even game, and I'd even give the edge to the Maple Leafs in this one in the second period. Then after that, penalties on both sides. A lot of delay of game penalties for the Maple Leafs in this one, like 3.
They were all weird ones too. Like they were all batted out of the air over like not ones you'd see usually. I just want to touch on Josh Anderson quickly though, because I thought he was going to get himself killed in that first period because he was flying up and down the ice, just leveling or trying to level anyone he saw. And he went after Wayne Simmons at some point, and I was thinking like, okay, I mean, I know you're a big guy, but this is Wayne Simmons we're talking about, so I was kind of worried for him there for a bit, but yeah, I mean, he had an amazing game. I think he had 2 breakaways from passes. He had one that he created himself with some pretty nasty moves around TJ Brody that he just couldn't get to at the end. But yeah, just an insane game by him and really set the tone for the team.
Yeah, it really like it felt like playoff Josh Anderson, and like it flipped a switch, kind of like he was obviously getting those kind of chances in the regular season too, but it felt like, I mean, there was one game where he said like, this game we have to play like it's the playoffs, and I think it was against like the Jets or something earlier in the season, and he really played hard that game, and I was like, oh my god, this guy can really like step it up, and it really showed that this is what he is, this is what he came here for, and he can really make a difference in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think we're at the point where we have to speak about the Maple Leafs to have a fair assessment, and I do want to speak a little bit about what I think the Maple Leafs are capable. I think I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here on the fact that it is kind of shocking when your captain goes down. I know that for other games that the Montreal Canadiens have been a part of, the Lars Eller game where he got hit by Eric Greiba, the Max Pacioretty one, Justin, that you mentioned. Even earlier on in the regular season, I remember there was a moment 2 years ago with Jesperi Kotkaniemi that got hit by, I believe it was the Avalanche's Zadorov at the time. So things like that, these are emotional moments that can really affect the team. So I will give the Leafs a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. It was a game that started off with a lot of energy. I know that they can bring more, and I expect them to bring more. The Habs played well. I don't think they played the best. Carey Price had to be vintage in this one. A huge save on Mitch Marner on that 2-on-1 with Willie Nylander with another feed. William Nylander had himself a game. I just think that this was a great way to materialize this rivalry that has been paper thin for years and years, just because we haven't had the chance for both teams to be in the playoffs at the same time and never face against each other. This is a top dog team in the Maple Leafs. We are completely aware of it. I think the problem with some of the Maple Leafs fans that we've seen and the conversations around the Montreal Canadiens is that we've been written off very early. And this was a statement win for the Montreal Canadiens to set the tone that even if we don't win, don't fucking disrespect us. I think that's the statement that they were trying to make. But that being said, it's far from over. It's only game 1. I want to go out and just kind of talk about maybe the stars of this game. We mentioned a couple of key moments before we wrap this first review of the Habs and Leafs series. Game 1, 2-1 win once again. Who were your standouts for today's game, starting with you, Alex?
Yeah, we mentioned Josh Anderson. So I got to say Carey Price. Again, if you guys have watched the podcast, you'll know I'm not a hater, but I've been a harsh critic of Carey Price. So again, like you said, vintage performance from him, insane. I think it was 36 or 35 saves. And the one you mentioned on Marner, just absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, if you have Carey Price playing to his best, there's not many guys who can beat him. So yeah, I'd pick Carey Price as my standout for sure.
Justin, go ahead.
I got to give it to Paulie B. Like, with that clutch shorthanded goal, the effort on that play to first of all just get past, I think it was Rasmus Sandin, and be able to lift the puck over Jack Campbell to score. It's just like this is what we know and love to see from Paul Byron, like Paul breakaway Byron. So I love to see that. Also honorable mention Arturi Lehkonen. I think he played a really good game, had a lot of PK minutes, so that's it for me.
Yeah, honorable mention for me also is Eric Stahl, because this is a player that was not favorite for Habs fans, and I think for the majority of even the media, anybody was like, Stahl really is going to be the starting guy. We talk about experience over youth, and it's been quite the uproar for the Canadiens fans, and I have to admit, I think we all questioned, and it paid off for Eric Stahl to be in this lineup tonight. I think he played extremely well. The first goal, once again, was his feed. But he was engaged. He was back-checking, intercepting. A solid game by him. I think that out of all of the players that could have maybe had a weak performance, that should have had a weak performance based off of the narrative that was heading into this game, Stahl really kind of showed up and proved everybody wrong. So good on him. I guess my last question, and I want to actually ask this question for the Matthews and Marners of this world. How did you sense they felt like this first game? Because obviously this was a big task that I think the Montreal Canadiens did extremely well on. I'll start with you, Justin. What do you think about the task of shutting these guys down?
I mean, I thought we did pretty well. I think Matthews still got some chances, but I mean, he's always going to get chances. Like, there's no way of completely snuffing him and stopping him. But I think we did a good job of getting our sticks in the way of his shots and kind of just not letting him have a lot of space in the middle of the ice. Like, I think we really bothered Mitch Marner. I don't think he had a great game. It seemed like we were really stopping his game more than I thought Matthews. It was just we were stopping his shots, I guess, and deflecting them away. But yeah, I think we're just taking space away, and it's paying off. It's good.
Alex, anything on that?
Yeah, I think we could easily be discussing this topic in a very different mood tonight, because Austin Matthews did hit a crossbar, and I think he had 12 shot attempts. Obviously, he's impossible to contain. These shots are going to keep coming, but he easily could have had one, and Mitch Marner as well easily could have had one on that huge save by Carey Price. So to come out of it tonight with them both going pointless is amazing, but we can't expect the same for the rest of these games. So I do think we're going to need a little more offense, but yeah, on the defensive side, absolutely. They did as good of a job as possible containing these two guys.
Yeah, and a big part of that comes back on what we said. Carey Price being vintage Carey Price, $10.5 million. Maybe didn't, as Justin points out to his jersey here that he's wearing, but that $10.5 million didn't necessarily shine during the regular seasons, but nobody really gives a shit if it shows up in the playoffs when it counts. Game 1, ladies and gentlemen. Last, before we go, any changes to the lineup that you foresee on both sides? I got to say that on my side, I think that out of all of the players that had a little bit of a so-so night, it was maybe Armia, but even at that, he had a couple of flashes, I think, of great play, just not as consistent as I would want to be, especially with a guy like Cole Caulfield sitting on in the press box. So, do you guys foresee any changes to this lineup, or do we keep going with what we got, Justin?
I'm a firm believer of not switching it up if we win. So I think if we won, we shouldn't switch it up. The only thing is, I think Jake Evans went out of this game at one point. I don't know if he'll be back for the next game. So that opens up a door for Jesperi Kotkaniemi, which gets me fucking excited. But yeah, I mean, that's the only change I could foresee. I mean, putting in a Caulfield right now when we won the first game, I don't think I'd see that. Like, I don't think anyone played badly enough to come out. But yeah, that's just me.
Alex, anything to add on that?
No, nothing to add. I don't think you change a winning formula, so I think they'll stay the same next game.
Makes sense to me. I love it. Guys, game one for both Leafs and Habs fan. I think this was a great way, once again, for the series to start off. Unfortunate incident with John Tavares once again. Hopefully, this is not something serious and we can see him back on the ice, because at the end of the day, you want to see the rivalry live out to its fullest. We've been Habs fans and we've seen carry prices go down in the series, and I don't think anybody wishes that upon anyone. So, once again, Habs, Leafs, Game one, Habs win this one 2-1. Paulie B with the OT winner. Josh Anderson, vintage carry winner. Price. Sorry, what did I say? I wanted to say fucking PK Shorty. That's what I meant to say. It felt like an OT winner. That's why I was going nuts. But to everybody watching, once again, this is a new format for the playoffs that we're doing, a little bit more YouTube friendly. If you do enjoy these videos, enjoy our content, I want to shout out Justin, who did a sick playoff montage. Literally goosebumps. I watched that shit like 50 times today to prepare for this fucking game. Even Leafs fans commenting on the work that you did. So huge shout out to our boy Justin. But for Alex, for Justin, for myself, Mackie, you're listening to the No Respek Podcast on YouTube and maybe on your phone. But we'll see you next time. Go Habs, go! But hey, may the best team win, and we'll see you then. All right, ciao.
May the best team win.
Fuck me, dude.